Hello. This video will provide an overview of popular and scholarly sources. First, what do popular and scholarly sources have in common? Scholarly and popular sources both collect, review, and disseminate information. Both source types have the potential to support your research. They have different purposes, audiences, and uses, and can be used together to explore the broader conversation surrounding a topic. One is not necessarily better or worse than the other. Which types of sources you use will ultimately depend upon your research needs and/or assignment requirements. So what are scholarly and popular sources? A scholarly source is an article or publication written by a subject matter expert who ensures that the information it contains is updated, accurate, and of the utmost quality. Usually, this information is derived from their findings, theories, and analysis. Sometimes scholarly sources may also be called academic, peer-reviewed, or research sources. Scholarly sources typically include academic journals and articles, as well as scholarly books, which are published by a university press, a professional association, or an independent scholarly publisher. Scholarly sources are generally peer-reviewed, i.e., they have been reviewed and verified by review boards comprising specialists in the field. This process helps to ensure the quality and significance of published research. However, you should note that in some cases, articles may not be peer-reviewed and still be considered scholarly. All peer-reviewed articles are scholarly, but not all scholarly sources are peer-reviewed. Popular sources are pretty much everything else. They include social media posts, newspaper articles, books, websites, magazines, and more. Popular sources vary in their review process. News articles might be edited and reviewed by paid editors, while social media content might not have any review oversight. Next, let's look at some characteristics of scholarly and popular sources in more detail. Scholarly and popular sources often have different authors and intended audiences. Scholarly sources are written by experts in a specific field who often work at an academic institution or research institute. Scholarly sources are written for other scholars, such as academics, professionals, researchers, students, and specialists. Popular sources are written by a wide range of authors, including journalists, students, professionals, scholars, and influencers. Popular sources are usually written for the general public or those who work in a specific industry. Scholarly sources and popular sources also vary in their purpose and vocabulary. The primary goal of scholarly sources is to inform other scholars and share research. Vocabulary is typically specialized and subject-specific. Popular sources, on the other hand, are meant to provide information in a general manner to the public. Their purpose could be to inform, influence, convince, and/or share. They tend to use simple, everyday language, but this can vary. The appearance or organization of scholarly and popular sources is another way to distinguish between the two. Scholarly articles may follow a predictable structure, which starts with an abstract and concludes with references. Since popular sources vary significantly in format, they may take on a variety of appearances. However, they are often slick and attractive, may use narrative to tell a story, and include pictures and/or advertisements. Location. While there is some overlap, scholarly sources are most often found in academic and research libraries, and other medical, scientific, or research settings, and through online databases or publishers' websites. Access may be limited behind a paywall outside of the library, so make sure you always go through the App State University libraries to access full-text resources. As for popular sources, from your favorite Google search results to the TikTok accounts you view, they are found everywhere. App State does provide access to many popular sources, including ebooks and magazine subscriptions. Another significant difference between scholarly and popular sources is references. Scholarly sources cite their sources, both in text and at the end of the work. Sources are cited for any direct quotations and the use of other people's ideas. The references can be verified by finding the source materials. While some popular sources will include references, many will not. Popular web and news websites often link to information within an article, but it can vary whether or not this will actually enable you to verify the information. What sources you ultimately decide to use in your research will depend on your information need, assignment requirements, and the context of your research. For example, Wikipedia could be great for getting background information on Miles Davis, but you might need to search for academic books or articles if you are writing a research paper about Miles Davis's music and embodied cognition. Or maybe you are creating a podcast episode about college students' opinions on jazz. In this case, newspaper articles and even social media posts may be helpful to provide additional context in your podcast research. Popular sources are extremely varied, serve many different purposes, and can play a role in your research. Scholarly sources can give a credibility and authority to your research. This concludes the video. If you need additional assistance, please ask a librarian. You can chat with us, email us, or make an appointment.